Essay number 90. You have to be kindest to yourself when it seems least deserved. You're your own worst enemy, and you think it's protecting you. Right now, you're probably tearing yourself apart over something. Maybe it's how you look. Maybe it's something you said 3 years ago that nobody else remembers. Maybe it's a mistake you made that you've apologized for 100 times but can't forgive yourself for. You're being cruel to yourself, and you've convinced yourself it's strategic. Like if you hate yourself first, nobody else's hatred can touch you. Like if you identify all your flaws before anyone else does, you'll be bulletproof when they attack. But let me ask you something. Has being cruel to yourself ever once protected you from someone else's cruelty? Has calling yourself stupid ever prevented someone else from calling you stupid? Has calling yourself ugly ever made someone else's rejection hurt less? Has beating yourself up ever made you stronger? No, it hasn't. It never has. It never will. But you keep doing it anyway because you've confused self-cruelty with self-preservation. We think being mean to ourselves is a survival tactic. We're survivalists by nature, and in our modern world, social rejection feels like death. So we obsessively scan for every possible flaw someone could use against us. We pick ourselves apart before anyone else can. We reject ourselves before anyone else can reject us. We think if we can just identify every weakness, every inadequacy, every way we're not enough, we'll be prepared, we'll be protected, we'll be safe. But that's not how it works. Believing the worst about yourself doesn't give you armor against other people believing it too. It just means you're getting hurt twice, once by yourself and once by them. Actually, it's worse than that. When you've already convinced yourself you're worthless and then someone else confirms it, you don't think they're wrong. You think they can see it too. You think I knew it. You think everyone must see what I see. You've turned yourself into your own proof that you're not enough. Here's what's really happening. You've outsourced your self-worth to everyone else. You've decided that however you do or don't align with what other people value determines your worth. That however the world does or doesn't show you kindness is a direct reflection of how much you deserve it. You're waiting for permission to be okay with yourself, permission that's never going to come, because even when someone gives it to you, you don't believe them. You think they're lying, or they don't really know you, or they're just being nice. You've created an impossible game where you need everyone's approval, but can't accept it when you get it. And here's the thing about seeking approval from others. It requires certainty. Universal agreement. Everyone needs to think you're worthy for you to believe it. But that's impossible. There are 7 billion people on this planet with 7 billion different opinions about what makes someone valuable. Someone will always think you're too much. Someone will always think you're not enough. Someone will always find a flaw you didn't even know you had. You cannot build your self-worth on the shifting sands of other people's opinions, especially when those opinions usually have nothing to do with you and everything to do with them. People's criticisms, especially the cruel ones, largely stem from what they know they don't have and can't do. The person calling you ugly is insecure about their own appearance. The person calling you stupid is threatened by your intelligence. The person calling you too sensitive wishes they could feel as deeply as you do. Their cruelty is autobiography, not biography. They're telling you about themselves, not about you. But you can't see that when you're too busy being cruel to yourself. When you're already your own worst critic, everyone else's criticism just feels like confirmation. So here's what needs to change. You have to be kindest to yourself when it seems least deserved. Read that again. You have to be kindest to yourself when it seems least deserved. Not when you're doing well. Not when you're proud of yourself. Not when everything's going right. Those times are easy. You have to be kind to yourself when you've messed up. When you've failed, when you've embarrassed yourself. When you feel most vulnerable to attack. Because that's when the self-cruelty usually kicks in. That's when you start the preemptive strike against yourself. That's when you think being mean to yourself is protecting you. But it's not. It's just adding your voice to the chorus of anyone who might want to hurt you. You're joining your own enemies. You're fighting on the wrong side of your own war. Let me tell you a story. Today I was beating myself up about something writing related. I was being vicious to myself, saying all the things I was afraid someone else might say. And I was about to text my friend who always encourages me, who always tells me to keep going, who always believes in me when I can't believe in myself. But then I stopped and I asked myself, why can't I tell myself what she's going to say? Why do I need to wait for someone else to give me those words? Why do I value her thoughts about me more than my own thoughts about me? It's not that I shouldn't appreciate her encouragement. But why is her voice more valid than mine when it comes to my own worth? And that's when I realized we need to narrate our own lives the way someone who loves us would. Not because we're delusional, not because we're lying to ourselves, but because that's what we deserve. That's what everyone deserves, to be spoken to with kindness, especially by the voice in their own head. Think about how you talk to yourself. Would you talk to a child that way? Would you talk to your best friend that way? Would you talk to anyone you cared about that way? So why is it okay to talk to yourself that way? The shift from self-cruelty to self-kindness isn't about becoming soft or weak or delusional. It's about recognizing that being mean to yourself has never protected you, helped you, or made you better. It's only made you miserable. It's about choosing to be your own ally instead of your own enemy. It's about fighting for yourself instead of against yourself. It's about recognizing that you deserve kindness, especially from yourself, especially when you feel you deserve it least. Because here's the truth. Okay is where we all end up. Not because someone else tells us we'll be okay, not because we achieve enough or become enough or prove enough, but because we decide to be okay. We choose to believe we're okay. We learn to tell ourselves we're okay. It's a choice. In that respect, it's actually simple. It's choosing to get help when you need it. It's choosing to leave situations that hurt you. It's choosing to end relationships that drain you. It's choosing to rekindle ones that feed you. It's feeding yourself actual food instead of punishing yourself with restriction or excess. It's making sure you get enough sleep instead of wearing exhaustion like a badge of honor. It's moving your body because it feels good, not because you hate how it looks. It's tenderly, constantly, patiently reminding yourself that you're going to be okay, that you're already okay, that you've always been okay, you just couldn't see it through all the self-cruelty. You have to stop believing that being mean to yourself serves any purpose. It doesn't make you stronger, it doesn't make you better, it doesn't protect you from pain. It just makes you hurt all the time, even when nobody else is hurting you. The voice in your head is the one you hear most. It's the one that narrates your entire life. It's the one that's with you in your darkest moments and your brightest ones. That voice can be your worst enemy or your best friend. It can be your torturer or your comforter. It can be the thing that breaks you or the thing that saves you. You get to choose which one it is. And I know it feels like you don't have a choice. I know the cruel voice feels automatic, natural, even necessary. I know it feels like the truth. But it's not the truth. It's just a habit. A terrible, destructive habit that you learned somewhere along the way, probably to protect yourself from something that's not even a threat anymore. You can unlearn it. You can choose differently. You can start being kind to yourself right now, in this moment, even if, especially if, you feel you don't deserve it. Because deserving has nothing to do with it. You don't have to earn kindness from yourself. You don't have to achieve enough or be good enough or prove enough to deserve your own compassion. You deserve it because you're here, because you're human, because you're doing your best with what you have, even when your best doesn't feel like enough. The world is going to be cruel enough to you without your help. People are going to criticize you, reject you, misunderstand you, and hurt you no matter how perfect you try to be. You don't need to add your voice to theirs. You don't need to be your own first bully. You don't need to hurt yourself to prevent being hurt. You need to be the one voice that's always kind, the one place that's always safe, The one person who always believes in you, even when you mess up, especially when you mess up. You need to be kindest to yourself when it seems least deserved. Because that's when kindness is most needed. Because that's when kindness is most powerful. Because that's when kindness can actually save you. Not from other people's cruelty, but from your own. And that's the only cruelty you actually have control over. So control it. Choose kindness. Choose it right now, when you feel you least deserve it. That's where healing begins. That's where everything changes. That's where you finally stop being your own worst enemy and start being your own best friend. The question is, are you ready to switch sides in your own war? Are you ready to fight for yourself instead of against yourself? Are you ready to be kind when it seems least deserved? The choice is yours. It always has been.